Hey everybody, it's the Daycare dude. Welcome to the playground. I am here tonight. I am ready to have some fun. I want you to be ready to have some fun. You should be ready to have some fun. Really, if you waited this long, you should be ready. Do me a favor, hit the like, share, tag, all of those buttons that you have. If you're on YouTube, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for viewing us from YouTube. I see that YouTube viewer there. Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for viewing. I'm so glad you're here. Do me a favor, share that YouTube link as well. Share the link, share the feed, whatever you can do, share it and tag as many people, especially childcare providers. And you know who else will gain some insight from this conversation tonight? Parents. Parents of children who are in preschool, parents of children who are in childcare altogether, parents who have children who are struggling in some area of their let's just say of their learning. Let's start with that, okay? Because your child's learning could be linked, possibly linked to some form of a disability, and so we want to talk about it tonight, not just to shed light on disabilities, for lack of better words, but what we want to do is we want to shed light on how in the childcare realm we can and should be able to help those who have disabilities. My shirt is acting like it don't want to be on screen today. What's wrong with this? Somebody help me. I need it. You know what I need? I need a, what's those people called, y'all? I need a, I don't know. What's the people? You know the people. I need those people that help come get you together. You know, I need people that could have came in here and just brushed my face and helped me out and get me together and, you know, do all those good things. No? Okay, don't worry about it. That's all right. I don't have all that. But tonight I want you to feel free to comment and share. We are here together here in the on the playground. Of course, I tell you all the time when we're here, we haven't been here in a while. So this is season 2 of the Playground podcast. I want you to make sure, if you have not done so yet, I want you to subscribe, share share and subscribe through your Apple or any way that you listen to your podcast, okay? We stream on your podcast platforms, okay? So tonight, y'all, I have a great guest with me. She's a great friend of mine, but also an individual who I respect in the field in which she's in, because she's just a great person. I have included this young lady in so many areas of the childcare profession as far as speaking to other childcare professionals. And we've joined in rooms together to be able to help childcare professionals to understand the need to partner, to be a resource, as well as a place of education. And so I'm going to bring her on tonight, and hopefully you guys are going to enjoy her as much as I do. And I want to tell you really quickly, you're not getting ready to get a start show tonight. I don't know what somebody told you, but this is not what you get when you watch or you're here on the playground. We have fun. We're playing. Do me a favor, make sure you're commenting. If you have questions tonight for our guest or myself, you can ask those questions, and we'll do our best to answer them. If we can't answer them, then we'll try to get to them later, all right? At this time, I'm going to bring up my guest. It's none other than the one and only. The one and only. There's only one of her now. I'm trying to tell y'all what I know. All right, there's only one of her. All right, I've looked to see if there was anybody else like this woman, but there's not. Okay, it's none other than our guest, Miss Jessica Jones. Miss Jessica,
hey,
how are you?
Hey, I'm doing really, really good today. Today's a good day. So I'm glad to be here, glad to be on the playgrounds, and I am ready to play and to learn. So I'm so excited to have this conversation.
Listen, hold on. Somebody texted me.
Lord.
Okay, there it is. I got it out. There it is. All right. Hey, I want y'all to do me a favor. My girl Jess is here, y'all. Jess is, I'm gonna let her tell you who she is and what she does. But I will tell you, she is a professional in the mental health field, and that's what we're here to talk about tonight. We're here to talk about mental health in the child care field. Mental health in childcare. And so what I need my friends to do, I need the other people here on the playground, I need you guys to go grab some people and tell them it's time to play, all right? Go tag them. Don't just share it, but tag some folk who can learn from this, all right? Tonight, again, like Jess said, we're going to play, have some fun, learn from each other. All right, let's do it. All right, so Jess, so you said you've had a great day today?
Yes. Great day? Yes.
Okay. All right, so what did you do? Did you
well, today was my day off. So I didn't do too much of anything. I did some self-care today, which I try to usually do on my days off. So, but yeah, that was pretty much it. Got a little nap in today in the middle of the day. So that's always a great thing. I mean, that's what happens in daycare, right? The kids get to take a nap. So today I was able to take a nap. So that was good. But yes, I had a very good, productive day when it comes to having a day of self-care.
Listen, self-care is important. Why is self-care so important to you? Why do you feel like it's so important?
Yeah, I mean, it's extremely important. It's one of the main things I teach as a therapist, because it's what self-care is just putting yourself as the priority, whether it's in your day, whether it's in a moment of your day, and it allows you to be present, and it allows you to ground yourself because we have so much that's going on. So it's good to be able to take some time for yourself. Because you can get so lost in being an employee, a mother, a father, a husband, a wife, a daughter, a student. So it's really important that you're able to take some time to really just recharge and reset so that you are prepared to be able to carry out the rest of your week.
Okay, I love it. So, of course, tonight, again, as I stated before, here on the playground tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about mental health in childcare. Now, some people may say that doesn't even go together. Mental health and childcare. Why is that even a topic of discussion? That's the reason why it's a topic of discussion, because people a lot of times ignore the need for self-care or the care for others. And a lot of times, a lot of people, and this is my opinion, but you can tell me as a professional if I'm wrong, but a lot of people have the issues they have mentally. And let's talk adults really quickly. A lot of the adults that we see today have issues that they have in their mental health simply because they are overloaded with work and the stresses of life, and they have to work to meet the demands of life. If they don't go to work, then they can't pay the bill. If they can't pay the bill, then they can't provide for their families, and they can't do these things. So they have to keep working. And then the demands of work become so much that they don't have time for the families. So family dynamics are even, I don't want to say destroyed, but they're even threatened, if you will. Family dynamics are even threatened because of the demands that are put on people from work. And so I believe that for myself, the daycare dude, being someone who wants to be an advocate for employers, an individual who looks to be an advocate for not advocate, excuse me, but one who helps to build leaders within the childcare field. I want employers to understand why it's important that we are paying close attention to how we handle our employees. Can you talk about that for just a minute?
Yeah, I mean, because burnout is, it was, but burnout is real. And, even as an employer, if you know that you have certain stressors because you're trying to meet certain expectations when it comes to the business, you have to know that the people that are working under you, they are also trying to meet some type of expectation as well, because what they're doing is helping you to make sure that you maintain your business. So self-care is extremely important. So one thing that I do, I didn't talk about kind of who I am, what I do. So I'll just insert that in. So I'm a therapist, owner and a therapist at Becoming Counseling Services, located in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Also on the side, a real estate agent, as y'all can see. But my main goal and passion in life is therapy and mental health. But one of the things that we have implemented into our policy and procedures is that we have 1 day per week that we have outlined as our self-care day. And so the office is closed. We don't see clients on this day. And it's for us, employees, interns, anyone who is connected to the business. It is our goal that we have a day, because we understand, again, that there are so many expectations. There's so many requirements when it comes to work. And as an employer, you have to remember that the employee's life is not just centered around work. They also have an outside life as well. They have outside responsibilities and outside expectations that they're trying to meet. So there's a lot of things that people have to deal with. And so it's very important that as an employer that you're doing check-ins with your employees to say, hey, how are you feeling today? What's been going on? Anything new? When they come in from the weekend, tell me about something great that happened. I use the term peaks and valleys. Tell me about a peak. Tell me about a valley, because that helps to open up communication with your employees so that you're able to have a check on them to see how they are feeling, because it's very important, because if not, your turnover is going to be high if people are burnt out.
Wait, so you do this thing called peaks and valleys with your employees, not just your clients?
Just clients, because like my employees is my partner, so she's good. But we do check-ins, so I don't have to do peaks and valleys to her. But I
Okay,
definitely do it with my clients. So, but I would
okay.
say as
I
an
just thought that was
employer,
interesting.
oh, okay, yeah, as an employer, absolutely, it's important to do that. So, like when we start taking interns in this spring, but that'll definitely be something that I do with them, because I understand that they have a huge expectation and a lot of things on their plate because they are in school. So they're at our agency because they are working right now to be able to get their master's degree. So they're getting a
Yeah.
master's degree. They still have to take care of home. They may still be working. So I want to be able to always check in. So it's very important just to be able to do those check-ins with people to see where they are.
I think that's really good. Just so tell me this, just how long have you been in this profession? How long have you been in the mental health field?
So I started in mental health back in 2011.
Okay.
I started at an agency in Rayford, North Carolina. I wasn't doing therapy then. So mental health is very broad.
Right.
It could
Right.
cover a lot of different things. So I started in 2011, took some time away from mental health, came back, worked with Child Protective Services in Cumberland County for some time. Also a couple other, when you're in mental health, you can kind of have your hands in a couple of different places. So worked at a couple other places just to assist. And then now at becoming counseling services in Fayetteville.
Right. So I just want to say this really quickly because I try to instill this in, again, the daycare dude. One of the focuses for the daycare dude is to help build leaders. Okay. I go around, I speak to other leaders, potential owners, things of that sort. And one thing I want people to understand is there's a process before you get to the huge center that you see up the road, or the 4 and 5 different locations that you see. There's process, and so I know you're not in childcare, but even you being a business owner, I think it's important that we understand. You just gave us some of your background. And in your background, Jess, you expressed how you worked in different areas before you could now say becoming counseling is your own.
Yeah.
So you did that for about how long did you? I mean, of course, you said since 2011, right?
Yeah. So that's when I started in mental health, 2011.
Mm.
So yeah, after that, definitely I just, again, because you want to be able to have different experiences. And I will say going into Child Protective Services has greatly helped me as a therapist, because
Really?
as a mandated reporter, which you are a mandated reporter, everyone, if you're in the state of North Carolina, everyone is a mandated reporter.
Can you stop for a second? Could you,
Sure.
and I'm sorry to stop you, but I need to, could you just talk to some of our viewers now and express to them, as a mandated reporter, what is your responsibility as a child care provider? What is it that you should see and tell? If
Sure.
say it that way.
So anytime as a mandated reporter, it's if there are any allegations or suspicion of child abuse or neglect. So you don't need to have any proof of anything. It just needs to be suspected. If you believe that there is any alleged child abuse or neglect, that can be physical, that could be emotional. It covers all of it. You are supposed to, you're supposed to report it to the Department of Social Services. You can call, they're 24 hours, 7 days a week. But again, if you feel like the child says something that kind of gets your ears, like, wait a minute, what's going on? Or if you see a mark or a bruise, you talk to the child and they're like, oh, my mom hit me, or I got a whooping, or oh, this or that, or the third, like, or they're coming to daycare and their clothes are dirty, or if you know that they're missing a lot of days of daycare for some reason. Like, again, if you suspect that there's any child abuse or neglect, you want to report it. It is not your job to investigate it. That's the job of the Department of Social Services.
Right.
So a lot of people are like, well, I want to have proof to be able to tell them that this is definitely going on. No, it's not your job. That's what the investigator's job is. And as a previous investigator, that is exactly, we would go out, we would get the report, and it would say that, hey, this, and this was happening. And it was our job to go out and investigate to see if that in fact was happening. So again, you want to make sure you make the report, because a lot of times we see and have seen many cases where a child is being abused or neglected, and yet the child has been going to daycare for many years, or the child has been in school for some time, but yet no teacher has ever reported, because again, there's fear of maybe backlash or retaliation. But you can absolutely report anonymously. You can say your report in a way that, you know, the parent would know that it was you, but just know that the investigator does not actually tell the parent who made the report. By law, we're not able to do that. So you don't have to worry about that. But again, it's all about, if you have any type of suspicion that, you know, this child, or you feel like something's going on in this household, you definitely want to make the report. Better make it than to be sorry later.
Right. So Jess, okay, I'm going to shift gears after this question. We're going to dive right into what our focus is for tonight. But what, you know, you're talking about being in the mental health field since 2011. Your hand has been in different areas of the mental health field. What has been the most rewarding piece about this career for you thus far? What is the thing that makes you say, man, I don't feel like getting up this morning, but you know, I'm getting up because of this. I've got to see this again. So what's that piece for you?
I think for me, probably two areas. One, of course, is being a therapist. This is very exciting to be able to go into work, and I know that as soon as I go into the waiting room to get my client, that they're gonna be like, "Girl, I got the tea for you," or "Child, I've been waiting for you all week." So those kind of things make it very rewarding for me to be able to go, because I know that I have become a safe space for them. So to see people actually come to therapy their very first time, and they're very guarded because they don't know me. They don't know what to expect from the process. And so, you know, they sit across from me and they really don't have a lot to say. So I'm trying to really pull out, like, you know, "Hey, why are you here? You know, let's start getting this rolling," to them coming in and being able to just express their feelings in a very healthy way, or being able to have things that are released that they've been holding on to for years, whether it's,
Right.
you know, issues with family members, and just seeing that is awesome. And then also with my kids that I see a lot of children. I see children ages 4 and up. But to get letters from parents. So like just yesterday, I got a Christmas gift from one of my kids. They brought it in yesterday, and it had a card in it, and it was just saying how much the child looks up to me, and just talks about me outside of the therapy room. So the child really does, you know, try to work towards being better and expressing her emotions. And, you know, she's just a baby. But those type of things, when I'm able to see progress, when I'm able to know that, you know, clients are walking away and they're like, "You know what? I've learned something from this. I've learned about my attachment style," or "I learned that I trauma bond," you know, these different things. So it's definitely rewarding to see progress.
You would stop while I'm in mid-sit, right? You know, there was something you said that I thought was so hilarious. I probably shouldn't have thought it was hilarious, but I could have heard you wrong, but I thought you said you like the fact that they walk into your office and they say, "Girl, I can't wait to say this." So you just like to be nosy with permission. That's what I got out of that. That's what I got out of it.
That's kind of what it is.
That's kind of what it is. You got to
but
be nosy
again,
with
I'm just grateful that they are so comfortable, because again, it's very hard to go sit across from somebody you've never met before and tell them all of your deepest, darkest feelings and things you may have never expressed to anybody else. So that's very, very like rewarding. So every time I hear it, and I have like teenagers, they'll be like, "I got the tea for you," and I'm like, "Yes, girl." But I'm also going to put a therapeutic spin on it as well, so that I can teach you something. Because no matter what you're telling me, there's going to be perspective that is given, and there's going to be some type of therapeutic intervention that is also going to be put in place. Because as much as I love come in and have conversation with me and tell me about the drama that has happened, or, you know, some sad things that may have happened in their life, like that's all cool, but I have to be able to give you tools so that, hey, did you communicate well in that moment? Or, you know, could we have done something better in that moment? Do we need to work on communication? You know, things like that. So no, absolutely. I love it. It's my personality.
So at the end of the day, your goal is to help. I mean, that's just what it is. Your goal is to be there for whomever shows up.
Yeah, correct? My goal is to provide them with tools so that they don't have to come back.
What if I told you and all of our listeners that our fields have relationship?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we're here today.
Yeah.
Because while you're listening to a person talk, you listen, do you know, hey, childcare providers, I don't know how long you've been in the business. As a matter of fact, do us a favor if you could. Could you put in the comment section how long you've been? If you're watching us live tonight, could you put in the comment section and tell us how long have you been in the childcare field? Because I guarantee if you've been in the childcare field, watch this longer than 2 days, you're going to hear somebody's problem. You're going to hear of a divorce. You're going to hear of a separation. You're going to hear of a potty training meltdown. You're going to hear of a need for morning coffee that you didn't get. You know, something like that is going to happen. It's going to come across your front door, your desk, and you've got to be able to provide some level of confident I don't know, advice, if that's the word I could use, where you're giving the people something to work with. Watch this, though. I'm not telling you to be a therapist to people, but sometimes we have to play therapist. You know, somebody said they've been in for 1 year and 3 months. 1 year, 3 months. Congratulations to you. Yeah. 15 and a half years. I love it. 15 and a half years. So I guarantee you, especially 15 and a half years, you probably have tried to go into therapy at this point, okay? But we've had to, I mean, I'm sure we've had to do those things. You know, I mean, I've talked to people 16 years. I've talked to people who have, you know, they, again, divorce, children, the loss of a child. All of those things have come through our to our front door. The point I'm making is our goal has always been to help. Now, that's not the goal of childcare. That's the goal of that moment. And childcare, our goal is to help as well, though. Help to educate, help to give proper care, help to make sure that we teach, to give tools to these children so they can grow and be confident learners, ready learners. You know, that's who we are. That's who we should be. And so there's a lot that goes into this thing. So when we talk about mental health, that's where we make this connection at. But I want to ask you a question. When we talk about mental health, as far as what would you say is what would you say is important for teachers, directors, owners? What would you say is important for us as a staff to understand when it comes to children who have some type of mental health concerns? I try not to use the word mental health issues. I'm not sure if that is, the word issues brings forth a negative tone. I try to use the word concern. So help me out so I can make sure I'm using the proper verbiage as well.
Sure. And I usually just say struggling with mental health.
Okay.
Yeah. Or mental wellness, but absolutely. So, wait, what was the question?
Ooh, she's on my couch tonight, y'all. There it is. She's on my couch. Listen, here it is. All right. What would you say is important for staff to understand when it comes to children who suffer or deal with their mental wellness?
Okay, for sure. Okay, got it. So it's important, one, to be able to communicate with the parent to know what exactly the child is struggling with. Because there's so many different types of mental health concerns. So you want to know, like, is this child dealing with mood issues? Is this child dealing with anxiety? Like, what is this child actually dealing with? You need to know about what the transitions that may have taken place in the household, because sometimes it's not even anything that the child needs to be diagnosed with, but anytime there's a major transition in a child's life, you can expect that there's likely going to be some type of behavioral concerns. So you think about transitions that, you know, we wouldn't even think about affects children, but may, like loss of a parent's job, divorce, things like that can definitely play a part on a child's mental health. So as a mental health provider, it's really important to, one, just be a safe space for that child. Like, let them know that this is a safe and supportive environment. So if you need to be able to talk about anything, I'm here to be able to give that to you. You may have children who can't talk, or, you know, they may be much younger. So you also just want to be able to be physically present for them. Because again, if they're struggling, they don't have the verbiage to be able to say, I'm feeling anxiety in my stomach right now because I know maybe my babysitter's coming to pick me up today because my mom just passed away.
Never thought of that.
And so, you know, I'm used to my mom coming to pick me up, but the babysitter's coming to pick me up because my dad's working. And again, my mom passed away. So I'm having something going on in my stomach because I'm feeling a little bit anxious about this. they're not able to verbalize that. So it's important to be
Yeah.
able to physically be present there for the child. But again, that's why it's so important to communicate with your families so that you know what is going on in the home that may affect the child's behavior. But
Jess, that's
modeling is
good.
always going to be number one because these are children that we're dealing with. So you
Yeah.
have to model the correct behavior. So you're showing them like, hey, when I feel sad, I cry. I cry when I feel sad too. And so if a child is exhibiting a lot of anger, and again, you may know that the child just lost a parent, then you can sit down with them and say, hey, I know this is really tough. So again, just being present there mentally and physically is really important.
I think what you're saying makes so much sense, and it's actually very, very. It has a lot of strength in it, and I believe that if we take hold of it, we'll be able to implement it into our programs and see a greater outcome. And I say that because a lot of times we don't consider the further, the depth of the possibility, if that makes sense. Oh, maybe she's having a bad day, but why may this 3-year-old child be having a bad day?
Right.
Why may this 2-year-old child be? Because what we do is we do what parents did to us a lot of times. You ain't got no feelings, gone. Well, you ain't got, because a lot of times what we heard a lot of people say is that, you might have heard a child say, they getting on my nerves, and say, you ain't got no nerves. That's
right.
what I heard that a lot when I was a child. You ain't got no nerves. But the truth is that child does have that point of pressure, or that point where it seems like they can't take anymore, and it has to be recognized. How do we as teachers, and I know you said pay attention or engage with those parents, which I believe is absolutely important, but how do we as staff recognize those pressure points? How do we recognize when a child really has reached their limit? How do we know that?
Yeah, so most of the time you'll be able to see, because again, with children, they're not extremely verbal, especially if they're younger. But most children haven't learned the emotive vocabulary to be able to give us words such as, I'm frustrated, I'm annoyed, I'm terrified. They don't have that vocabulary.
True.
So as a teacher or a staff member or director, you have to be able to read their body language. And read whatever emotion through their body language or through what they can say. You have to be able to read that and decipher that. And then try to figure out, hey, what's going on with this child that, again, every time it's time for us to have lunch and we tell them they can't have more, they always have some type of meltdown. What's going on with that? Instead of looking at it like they're just greedy, they want food. Well, maybe this is the only meal that they're going to get.
Wow.
Maybe when they're at home, their parents ration out how much they eat. So when they come here, they feel like this is the only place that they can get more food. So again, it's just, you have to be able to just be very present and pay attention to the children's behaviors, because their behaviors is all that they can do to be able to express how they feel. And so you think about, even as adults, whenever we feel very anxious, a lot of times people become fidgety, people get headaches, again, you get the stomach, some people get the bubble guts, because our body is just on overdrive, because there's some type of perceived threat that is going on that causes this anxiety. So if all of that happens for us, could you imagine what's going on in a child's body? Right. And again, they can't express, or they don't even know what's going on or what has triggered that for them. So it may be hard to identify what their trigger is, but again, paying very close attention to them, you can at least come to the realization that, okay, it happens every time that this situation comes up. And then so you can start to have that conversation with the parents to say, hey, this is what we've noticed, that little Johnny is triggered every time A, B, and C. And so that's something that we need to be able to deal with Johnny about. But again, just being compassionate. Like if you learn compassion, you'll be able to really help these kids. Because remember, their brains are not fully developed. And so we're still, as adults, we're trying to figure out how to manage our own emotional and mental health. So again, for a child, it can be very difficult. So reading body language is really important. A child is going to tell you before they explode, you're going to see it coming on.
I just had one of our viewers who is a childcare professional to text me And she said this was her dilemma today. She said she wanted to crawl out of her skin. She said, I wanted to crawl out of my skin listening to a parent tear down their child.
Yeah.
And honestly, we see that. We see that a lot. We see parents cuss their children out. We see parents tell their children, you know, you're just like your sorry daddy or your sorry mama, you're this, you're that. We watch these, and there's only but so much we can say or do. My question to you is, and I'm not going to say this goes as far as we've got to be at this point. Okay, I'm just going to say this. I'm not going to say this goes as far as we need to contact the authorities at this point. It's just something that makes us cringe, something that hurts our heart because of our profession, right? How would you suggest that we as professionals possibly address this issue, or do we leave it alone? Because that's a lot of times, that's where we stand. We stand in between the place of, do I say something or do I let this go?
Yeah, so I would say, of course, it depends on the relationship that you have with the parents. And if you have a good relationship with the parent to where you can have a conversation with them, and again, it's not in any type of tone or in a way where you are pointing the finger and saying, you. When we communicate anyway, it should never be a you thing. It's like, hey, whenever I hear you say this, I feel sad. I feel uncomfortable. So again, you can only imagine what the child feels like. So I would definitely say if there is that type of rapport that has been built with that parent, that it would be okay to address it with the parent, but to also be able to give them other ways like, hey, listen, I know you're frustrated in this moment with the child, but how about we try this instead? How about we try to tell Johnny this A, B, and C, or, you know, whatever it is that the child is, you know, hey, you know, affirm your child, how important it is. As a child care provider, what you want to be able to do is constantly affirm the child. If you know that at their home, they are constantly being put down, you want to make sure that every time you see the child, you are affirming the child. If you're the director, you need to let that teacher know. And of course, you don't have to single that child out, because it's good to affirm all the children, but just make sure you're affirming that child. So when they do a good job, it's like, hey, you know, Johnny, you did a very good job. Like, you're a great colorer, or you did really good today at helping, or, you know, whatever it is. But you want to make sure that you affirm the child and affirm them in a way that you know, or that they know that this affirmation is just for me. So you're on their level, you're looking them in the eye, and you're letting them know, like, hey, you are the best, you are great, you are smart, you are important, like all of those great things. But you definitely want to make sure that you are affirming the child. So even as they grow, because you can counteract what is happening in the home, because it can be like, yeah, my mom was one that always said that, yeah, you just like your daddy, yeah, this, that, and the third. But because my teacher, or, you know, the director who was in my life, like, they were somebody who continually told me that, no, you are worth it, you are important, you are this, that can counteract what is happening in the home.
Jess, while you're talking, I think this is some phenomenal stuff, but my shirt just does not want to cooperate with me tonight. Do you see? No, I'm just messing. Okay. Anyway, I can't get over this here just leaning out like this while everything. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. Sorry. Mental health, guys. It's my mental health. All right. Lord. So listen, let's go to this, because I want you to answer a couple of questions that I think will be good. What signs, I know you talked about bilingual, but help us out real quick. What signs should we, teachers and staff, look for when children are in our care that will help us to see that, hey, there may be something going on here, even to the point of not just mental stress, but maybe delays or some type of, you know, some type of issue of that sort?
Yeah. So first, with mental health, you would just want to look for outbursts of behavior. So anger, especially if it's like if a child is at one point, they're calm, cool, collected, and all of a sudden they switch like this, they're very upset. And then even if it's, you know, to the next level where they're like throwing things like that, you definitely know that there are some issues that are going on around mental health. Those children, which, you know, of course, kids are going to be kids, they're going to be very energetic. But for those kids who really do have issues concentrating, those kids who have issues sitting still in their chair, sitting at carpet time, if you have children like that, you also just want to kind of keep your eye on those children as well, because they may be exhibiting signs of ADHD, which we know ADHD is very prevalent in this time. It starts very early. And there's a lot of reasons why I won't go into, but looking out for things like that. But anytime you see
So
a behavior change.
How knowledgeable are you in this ADHD thing?
Pretty knowledgeable, because a lot of people deal with ADHD.
So is there a possibility we could bring you back to simply talk about ADHD and the effects that it has on early childhood, like children in the first 2,000 days?
Sure, yeah, that's fine.
Okay, let's continue.
We definitely can. Yeah.
Okay, great.
So yeah, but definitely if a child they've always had really good behaviors and all of a sudden that switches, there's something going on. So anytime there's a major transition in behaviors, there's something going on. As when it comes to like intellectual disabilities, things of that nature, usually you can tell some delays. If a child is having, especially like if their speech, if they're not speaking at the level that they should be, there may be some delays going on. That does not necessarily mean that they're going to be diagnosed with anything. It just could be that they're just a delayed child. So maybe you can connect, especially if you have parents who are lower income parents who may not be as involved or have the resources that they need to be able to connect their children to services. But if you see speech delays, it's important to talk to that child about it. So maybe you could be the advocate to help that child get speech therapy. Let's start them now while they're in daycare, so then they don't have to go through it whenever they're in kindergarten. Maybe we can start them at the age of 3 or 4. And by the time they get to kindergarten, their speech has already been solidified to where they're on their correct grade level. But again, just looking at speech, looking at behaviors. So are their behaviors appropriate for the situation? You want to look at that as well. It's a lot of things to look for. But again, changes in behavior is going to be one of the main things that is like, okay, red flag, something's going on with this child. Yeah. And that and anger.
Anger. Really? Yeah. Well, you said outbursts of anger.
Yeah.
And then anger in response to simple commands that they don't like, right?
Yeah. So
but that's when go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's like, so a situation that would not necessarily invoke an angry response, but yet the child gives you an angry response, there's something going on.
Okay. All right. Let me just maybe hit you with give me 2 more. How important, because now let me say this, all of my professionals out there, because she has touched on this several times in each of her responses. We've asked a range of questions that help us to be able to identify when there is a child who may possibly have some mental health concerns, understanding why that may have happened, all that. But every time that she has responded, much of it goes back to us. For us to be able to be effective in dealing with that child, we must understand that family dynamic, understanding what's going on. And so I'm big on this. And if you've been following the Daycare Dude for any amount of time, you know how important it is to me for the child care professionals, whether that's the teaching staff, the administrative staff, or the owner, to have relationship with the families of those centers. Now, every owner can't have a direct relationship with every person, but that's a way you can still connect. For example, with my 2 centers, I am not directly involved as I was before because there are other things that I've dived into. But both of my administrators are extremely involved with parents. They know parents by first name. I still know parents by first name, but guess what? My parents, every parent that is associated with my center got a Christmas card, a New Year's card. Every parent that's within my center, they got a message from me during the Christmas break through our parent portal that we use for our online systems. So there's still that connection there, that connection of communication where they still feel like if they see me, I speak to them. If they see me in the store, they know me because they understand that connection is there. Here's the point I'm making. You've got to make sure that you're building relationships. Relationship matters. I don't care what you do. You can do church. You can do business. You can do daycare. You can do doggone, I don't know. If you want a girlfriend or boyfriend, you better know how to build a relationship, okay?
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. At the end of the day, as a matter of fact, you want a dog? You better build a relationship with your dog, all right? Relationship is important. Relationship is that important, though. And so I want to encourage you all as childcare professionals to not just build a daycare. Don't just build a daycare. Don't just build a program. Build a relationship that a program can foster the needs, meeting the needs of those people. One thing about us at GLA is at GLA, we have resources for our parents. I have an ABA therapist that all of my families can go and connect with if there's a need. Becoming counseling. I'm in Fayetteville, North Carolina, so I'm blessed to be right here where Ms. Jess is with Becoming Counselor. If any of our families are in need of therapy on any level of therapy, whether it's the child, the family, whatever it is, we directly have a resource that we can send them to. And so we have that connection there. We have connections with our local Department of Social Services. And guess what? Let me say this. Having those resources benefits your business as well, by the way, because when those families come in and they have a need, those people, oh, you know what? We have a relationship with so-and-so child care center or daycare center, home care center, whatever your name is. So I want to encourage you not to slack on building relationship with the community and relationship directly with those parents so you have an understanding of what's going on. So I wanted to say that real quick because I wanted to make sure that we do that. I have 5 minutes left, 5 to 7 minutes left with Ms. Jess, y'all, because my assistant has texted me and said that Ms. Jess has already made it known to her she has a nail appointment and this is her self-care day, guys. So I'm gonna let this go. Yeah, I'm gonna let her go. All right, so here's the question. How important is a student-to-teacher relationship when it comes to mental health in itself?
Very important. Very, very important. Because like you've already talked about, connection is so important. When a child feels connected to a teacher, especially they're seeing you as a teacher 5 days out of the week. So they see you more than they see a lot of people, more than maybe their grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins. So it's important to be able to make that connection with them. And again, like I spoke about earlier, being a safe and supportive space for them so that they do feel then comfortable to come to you and tell you about things that are going on that maybe mom and dad are not going to tell you about. So it's extremely important. You are also someone in their life who is going to show them what good behavior should look like, what positive relationship looks like. Like children look up to us as adults. So any adult that is in their life, they're going to look up to you. And so they're going to learn a lot from you. So they're going to remember things such as how you communicated with another staff member. If they see you guys and the way that you guys interact is very healthy, like they take that in. If they see that, though, if the director comes in and has an attitude with the staff, they may feel like, well, I can talk to the staff member like that too.
Exactly. Yes.
That's what they see. So it's important that you model good behavior when it comes to being around these children, because connection is important, whether it's one-on-one connection or the connection just simply in them being around you. It's really, really important to have that connection with children.
Okay. Hey, if you guys have any questions, I'm going to give you these last few moments where you can chime in and ask your question. If you have a question that you can ask her, if you'd like, we can do that. But while they're typing or considering, I just want to ask you this. When it comes to us doing this thing called childcare and considering the mental health of children, what do we do when we have that child, when we recognize something's not right, something's not clicking here, something's not connecting? What's the best approach to take? Because let's be honest, no parent wants you to tell them that their child has a delay. Nobody wants you to, there's no parent out here that wants you to come to them and say, hey, your child is at the end of the line. You get what I'm saying? With how they're comprehending everything. Not like I make something up. But they're one of the last ones to comprehend what we're putting out. So I think they need some additional help. What's the best way that you would suggest as a mental health professional to verbalize that to a parent?
Sure. Let me just say that it is very much a disservice to the child to not have the conversation with the parent. Like, this is not about you and your feelings as a child care provider. Like, oh, I wonder what the mom is going to think, or I wonder what the dad is going to say. That's something that's a feeling that you're having. You're nervous about it. And
right.
that has that. What does that do for the child? Nothing, because that stops a lot of teachers and directors from having that conversation. But it's important, again, safe, supportive environment. It's not one of those conversations that you have when they're coming in to pick the child up and you're like, hey, by the way, at the door. Like, no, we're not doing that. Like, we're setting up a time, whether it's via Zoom, whether it's face-to-face, however you set that up, to say, hey, this is some things that we have noticed. And so our goal for the child is to make sure that they are excelling in every way, because it starts here. If we can get it at this level, then by the time they get into the school-aged level, they're going to soar and be successful and be great. So I think it's important just to be able to say, you know what? It is a disservice not to have the conversation. So let me have the conversation in a very healthy way that says, hey, these are some of the things that we noticed, and then be able to provide them with the resources. Because it's one thing to tell somebody like, hey, this is what we think, but like, okay, what are we doing with it now?
Right. Absolutely.
So yeah, let's have some resources and say, hey, these are some things that we would love to be able to assist you with. So whether it's getting assistance to get tested, do a psychological evaluation, with a psychiatrist for your ADHD, for your intellectual delays, for your speech, for academic difficulties. Like, if that's something that you need to do as a daycare, you can call these psychiatric agencies and make a referral for a child. So that is then helping the parent to say, like, I think that this is important as well. So I'm going to support you through this process. Of course, I'm not sure if you guys do like disclosures or consent to be able to talk with other agencies about a child. I'm not sure how that works. But I know
I think that's case by case.
Okay, so for mental health, we do like a disclosure form. So I would say, as daycare providers, to definitely consider having disclosure forms for each of your children. And so all that is, it just makes you HIPAA compliant, so that it gives agencies such as myself, such as psychiatrist offices, speech therapists, primary care doctors, the Department of Social Services. So if there's anything ever going on with the child and you need to be able to have conversation about anything that has to do with their mental health, their physical health, that gives you the opportunity that you can freely talk about them. But again, that is HIPAA compliant. So I would say it's probably a very good idea to just have at least one disclosure form on file. So you get your parent to sign off. You put the agency in which you're going to be talking to, because again, if they're getting a psychological evaluation, you would want to get a copy of that, so then you can know how to move forward with that child. But again, in order to share that information, you want to make sure that you've covered yourself, so that a parent can never come back and say, well, I didn't give you any type of consent to discuss my child's medical or anything else like that. So to cover yourself, definitely have some type of disclosure of information, or release of information, is what we call it, with your agency or your daycare.
I love that she gives that example, guys. And one thing about Jessica, she serves on our board. So, and let me tell you something about Jess. I run half of all of my ideas that have worked through Jess first. Okay. She's just, her brain works wonders. pay me my money, right? Pay me my money. You get paid every time I tell people this, because then they come to you. So you get paid. All right. But here's the thing, guys, because I have literally 3 minutes left with Jess, okay? Because she's got to get her nails done. Show us what your nails look like now, Jess. No, I'm just joking. Okay, I'm just joking. Okay, let me say this, y'all. So Jess, I'm glad that she said that, because that's something that we have done in the past, and it has absolutely worked. When you let parents know that you have remember I talked to you guys about having a resource. When you let parents know that you are a resource, they will support you. They will support you because they know you are there to support them. A lot of times parents don't want to hear that there's an issue or a concern with their child, because they feel attacked in the moment, because 9 times out of 10, they have already seen the concern and they have already been concerned with the concern. However, most of us don't want to be honest about the concern because it hurts our feelings. And so what we have to do, as she stated earlier, is we have to protect the future of that child. So we can't do that child a disservice, okay? All right, I got 2 minutes to finish preaching. So here it is. What I'm telling y'all is this right here. You've got to connect with resources in your community. The ABA therapists that we're connected with in that company, we had one child. His behavior was to the extreme of anything we had ever experienced in the time that we have existed. However, the type of person I am not giving up on a child. I just cannot. But then I began to see how much stress it was causing my teachers. I cannot do that either because my teachers matter. So I said, it's time for us to use our resource. I spoke to the dad, got permission by way of email, because at first we did not have that consent form. Mm-hmm. Thank God for that ABA therapist who created this form for us and made sure that we were good. But at that moment, got permission by email, got the dad consented to being able to share information and having that evaluation done. Evaluation was done. She did her report. She spoke with the dad. First, she reported to us. Then she spoke with the dad one-on-one. Then we all had a meeting together. This meeting, we set up a behavioral plan that would help us. And if that did not work out, then watch this, the transition of that child out of the center would be both understood by the parent and it would be received by the parent. And the child will have the help that he needed, okay? So I want to encourage you to follow that instruction. We're going to talk about ADHD the next time Jess comes back, y'all. I got to get her out of here because she will never come back in if she misses this nail appointment, okay? So thank you guys for being on the playground. I've enjoyed you guys for swinging with us, going over here to the picnic table and talking, and going on to the seesaw. We've had a great time today doing this. Jess, is there anything you want to share? Where can everybody find you and follow you?
Sure. So Becoming Counseling, we're on Facebook, IG, myself, Jessica J. I'm on Facebook as well. So you can follow me there. But absolutely, listen, if your child, your relationship needs therapy, your marriage needs therapy, absolutely. If you have children in your centers who you're like, maybe I should refer them, absolutely reach out to Becoming Counseling Services. Again, we're located in Fayetteville, North Carolina. We would be glad to be able to service you, your children, your staff. We also will come inside your daycare as well if you need services for your child, because maybe we don't want barriers such as transportation to stop people from getting the mental health that they need. So if the child is already coming to daycare between 7 and 3 p.m. and that's the only time, if the parent says I don't have a vehicle, I can't get them there. We do in daycare, in school, we do it all, except for in home. We don't come to your home yet, but we'll absolutely service you. So definitely reach out if you have any questions. Hit my inbox. I'm always willing to answer a question, even if it's about real estate in Fayetteville or in North Carolina. Hit me up and I'll get you taken care of.
All right, Jess, thank you so much for joining us and being a part of this great conversation tonight, mental health and childcare. Y'all, Jess has to go, so we're going to wave it, Jess. All right? Jess has to go. She's going to get her nails done. See you later, Jess. All right. Hey, y'all, those of you who are still here, I'm not going to be on here long either. I just want to remind you guys to continue to follow the Daycare Dude. Hey, if you want to be a guest on the Playground podcast and you have something to share that's going to benefit the audience of childcare professionals, I want you to let me know. You can email me at thedaycaredude@glacademync.com, or you can, as a matter of fact, don't go through all that trouble trying to remember that. Just visit thedaycaredude.com. It's on your screen. It should be. It's not. Why not? There it is. Thank y'all. It's on the screen, thedaycaredude.com. Go and do that. And if you haven't done so yet, where's my book? Go and purchase my latest book entitled Quarantine. It's entitled Quarantine, 30 Daily Devotionals for believers who desire to hear the voice of God speak. So if you want to just become a little closer to Jesus, go and do that. I am a Christian believer, and I'm okay with that. And I don't mind sharing and saying it. I'm not forcing or anybody else, but you can find any of my writings on Amazon. I also have this book. It's a book of daily confessions. You just want to wake up and have a great day. The name of this book is entitled Wake Up. You can find this on Amazon as well. Go and grab it, all right? Wake up. Now, I'm working on currently. Y'all want to know what I'm working on? I normally don't tell people what I'm working on because then I don't know. But I am currently working on my sixth or seventh book. I don't remember. I'm working on a book right now. And it is a book of daily confessions for daily confessions, daily words of empowerment. However y'all say that, because y'all be saying other stuff nowadays. But anyway, wow. So I'm working on that for childcare providers. Okay. Childcare professional. So you guys look out for that. That's coming soon as well. All right. All right. TheDaycareDude.com. I'll holler at you guys. You guys take it easy. Be amazing. And we'll see you guys on next week sometime. All right. Y'all take it easy. Y'all take it easy. When I say y'all take it easy, that's when the logo and stuff supposed to come up on the screen and I'm supposed to fade out. I don't know why I didn't fade out. What's happening here? What's going on with the studio? All right, here we go. All right, y'all take it easy.